Reports of flying saucers are nothing new. From the beginning of recorded time, men have been seeing unexplainable things in the sky, and there's no reason to doubt they saw something. The question is, was what they saw really there? And what was it they really saw?
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
Welcome to Somewhere in the Skies Live on this Friday afternoon, Friday evening for some of you, myself included here in the UK. Welcome. We're going to be doing a watch-along tonight for you guys of the 1982 television special called the UFO Experience, narrated by Peter Coyote. You guys know who Peter Coyote is? You should. Steven Spielberg. He was in that movie. He was in E.T. What else was he in? All of James Fox's documentaries. He's the narrator for James Fox, and he hosts this special that we're going to be watching with you guys tonight. So I'm super excited about that. What a week with Disclosure Day, Garrett says. Yes. Have you guys seen it? Have you seen it? I know it opens tonight in the United States. I had the opportunity to see it 2 days ago. I did put kind of a initial reactions video up on our social media and YouTube channel, which is what you're watching right now, my YouTube channel. But spoiler free. So you can go back and watch that in my shorts right here on the channel. No spoilers. Do not put any spoilers in the chat tonight, guys. I'll tease a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience seeing the movie and all that. But what I want you to do is tune in Sunday night, because we're going to be doing a very special Sunday night live stream, normal time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 p.m. UK time. And we're going to do a complete full spoiler review of Disclosure Day with, I'll tell you at the end of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hello to all the regulars in the chat. Guillaume's here. We've got Garrett. We got Jamie Tree Spirit. Hello. J. Ellen Heineken is here. McNog. Hello, guys. Who else? Skywatcher Signal is here. Igliaburn 98 is here. I'm really bad with these names, guys. I apologize. Guyana's is here. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Am I forgetting anyone? Dawn is here. Daniel Keel is here as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Andrew Berger. Better late than never, buddy. Good to have you here, guys. So yeah, I think we're gonna do the watch along second, but first, I want to cover something that just happened within the last 4 to 5 hours. The third trench or batch of UFO files and videos have officially released through War.gov and the Pursue effort that they're doing through the White House and War.gov and all that stuff. It dropped. And people are not happy. People are not happy. It's not good. It's not good. But we'll get into it. I found a few little nuggets that I think we can pull out of the shit and kind of go over with you guys. But it has become abundantly clear to me that this is all kind of bullshit. Donald Trump does not give two Fs about UFO transparency. His administration does not. This is a complete joke to those involved with the Pursue program, and I would include Arrow in that too. And yeah. If this is the kind of stuff we're gonna get, I don't want it. I just don't want it. Yeah, it sucks. It just sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But being the optimist I am, I will pull a few things out for you guys, and we'll go over it with you tonight. That's for sure. What are you guys drinking? I've once again got with me tonight the Highlander Fine Ales Farm Brewery. It's like a red ruby ale. It is delish, malty, sweet, little nutty. Love it. Love it. So cheers to you guys. Let me know what you're drinking in the chat for Disclosure Day. I'd like to know. Jamie Tree Spirit. I'm drinking a New York hard cider and it is delicious. Fly Creek hard cider. Yum. Love me a good cider for sure. Magners is my go-to. Classic Magners. Um, I also really like Krabby's ginger beer. Those are really good too. If we're talking like non-beers and whatnot, those are my favorite ciders and ginger beers for sure. Dawn's got some wine. Garrett's got a Corona and some salted popcorn. Yo, you are killing it, man. That sounds like the perfect kind of pre-dinner. I love it. Water after a day spent in the air, back up tomorrow morning so I stay sober. Very, very fair, Guillaume. 6064, love it, Skywatch. Love it, love it, love it. I'm guessing Andrew Berger has a White Claw, or two, or three, or four, or five. One for each finger on one hand. Heart. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just kidding. Um, and I'm gonna tease a little bit of Disclosure Day after we watch this television special, the UFO Experience, and then we're gonna end with I guess kind of what's to come. What is to come with this Disclosure Day review and whatnot. So yeah, yeah. Let's get to the UFO file release. I made this infographic for you guys to kind of synthesize some of this for us. We will not have Suzanne with us tonight, unfortunately. She is busy, as you guys may or may not know. She just moved out of one of her houses and is officially setting down roots in Santa Fe. So she is busy tonight, but we're sending our love to her and her family as they unpack and start their new chapter of their lives over there. So hopefully she'll be joining us very soon in the very near future. But again, sending my thanks and love to her and to her family. She is the absolute best. But here we go, guys. Pursue the transparency initiative through War.gov. In this batch 3, we got a total of 72 total files that were released, and that includes videos, audio files, documents, images, and we're adding to this list artwork. And there's a reason for that. A lot of these videos and I guess images and some of the files were like computer graphic renderings of accounts and whatnot, which is cool when like you're not dealing with an official government file release. So that was a little weird, and I did not like that one bit. So make of that what you will. But we got 6 videos that were released through the FBI and a couple other places, 2 audio files from NASA, 48 documents from a bunch of different agencies: CIA, FBI, Department of Defense, NASA, and a couple from I'm not sure what the other ones were, to be honest. But we got 16 images, and I've got them up on the screen here for you guys. 36 files came from the FBI this time, which is kind of the majority of what I'm going to cover with you. 14 files from the CIA, 14 from the Department of War/Defense, 6 files from NASA, and 2 files from various others. This is our, I guess you could say, second to lowest batch so far. Not a ton of stuff. The first batch we got back in May, there was 160 total files. So that was the biggest one. We had 64 files in batch 2, and batch 3, 72 files. But I would say the quality went down dramatically, even if the amount went up a little bit, as you shall see very shortly. And this makes, guys, for a total of 296 files that have been released across all 3 batches. So there you go. A little bit of the synthesized information on a lot of this stuff for you. But let's kind of break down some of I guess some of the stuff that came out here. I have my notes written down, so bear with me as I kind of go through this with you guys. Standout cases involve a series of orb sightings in the northeastern US that became significant enough for the FBI to conduct an on site investigation. So we're talking like Mulder and Scully going out there to investigate orbs. This is pretty crazy. According to the released files, witnesses documented reoccurring orb activity over several years near a secluded pond. And there is video. So I am going to show that video. You know what? Let's just do it now. Let's get to that video. So bear with me. I'm going to share screen here for a second and pull up the War.gov website. Um, and let's see here. Orbs over pond from 2024. So let's click on this guy. Um, little bit about this before I show the video. In October 2024, at approximately 1851 local time in the northeastern US, an eyewitness observed a light source below the horizon hovering above a pond at an estimated distance of 2,700 feet. The luminous object resembled a plasma like sphere, intermittently changing shape and luminosity. At times, the primary light source appeared to separate into smaller luminous points. A luminous point below the primary source hovered just above the water and did not appear consistent with a surface reflection. The object remained generally stationary for approximately 45 minutes before disappearing. That's a long time. Huh. Eyewitness did not hear any sound from the objects. The video was captured by a private citizen on an iPhone and subsequently analyzed and authenticated by the US government via the FBI. So, okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and watch this orb over the pond. It's kind of long, so I'll see how this goes, but what do you guys think? Here, let me make it a little bigger. I mean, this literally could be anything, obviously. Swamp gas, Guillaume says. I mean, while I'm seeing a luminous sphere, it looks a little amorphous as well when they zoomed in a little bit. So I don't know if we're actually dealing with like a plasma sphere per se. And then it almost looks like there's something underneath it in a few frames. However, that might just be the pond. See, this is crazy that within this FBI batch of videos that we're getting citizen videos now shot from iPhones. We're not talking gun camera footage from the Navy or the Air Force or Reaper drones in military installations or war zones. We're literally now talking about orbs over a pond by a citizen. I don't know if that decreases the value and the credibility of what we're getting in these releases. What do you guys think? Ball lightning, Andrew Berger says. It's not the worst video I've ever seen, but again, it's like many UFO videos. It's a white blob in the sky. Hmm. Even more potato camera work. Armanda says, just wait, we're gonna get the potato in a minute. Where's the Department of Energy footage? Skywatch Signal says, yeah, good question. DOE was involved with the second batch, I think. But I don't think we got like anything from them this time. Not really a reference point to be able to compare anything to, Don says. Agreed. Agreed. Like they're saying a pond. I don't see any like indication of that. Unless I were to see a reflection of this or orb on it. Could be a bag or a balloon, Jamie Tree Spirit says. Yeah. Literally could be anything. All right. I think I've seen enough. How about you guys? Seen enough of that one? Okay. Um, what else do we have here? Mother orbs. Interesting. Government investigators reportedly observed unusual electromagnetic disturbances, GPS interference, and radiation anomalies associated with some of these events. Okay. That's okay. I'm liking that. That's really close encounters. Another particularly intriguing case details federal officials witnessing large orange mother orbs over Colorado that appeared to release smaller red orbs before disappearing. Huh. Let's watch the second orb video that they had on the website. Northeastern orb sighting. This one was a little bit more interesting in my opinion. Looks like the website froze. Let me try to get back to it again. All right. Let's go to batch 3 down here. Okay. Here's the second one that is a little bit more interesting when it comes to the orbs, guys. Am I still on screen? Okay, good. In July of 2025, at approximately 2100 local time in the northeastern US, an eyewitness observed an intense bright light in their backyard as they parked their car upon returning home from work. The light was hovering approximately 25 feet off the ground below a tree line near the center of their backyard at an estimated distance of 90 feet. That's not too far. That's pretty close. The eyewitness exited their vehicle briefly before retrieving their phone to record the event. The spouse of the witness came outside to assess the situation. Spouse also witnessed the light, describing it as a brilliant red sphere, about 1 meter in diameter. The center of the red sphere appeared to be a white plasma sun about the size of a basketball. The orb slowly rose and moved to the left, and both eyewitnesses observed a second identical orb hovering above the other orb. Okay. All right, let's give this a watch. No sound on the video for some reason, which why is there no sound? There should be sound. This was shot on an iPhone. Huh. Little better in terms of quality, but again, shot from an iPhone of a citizen, yet investigated by the FBI. Come on, come on. Interesting. Why are you panning to the ground? Why would you do that? I don't know. I don't know. iPhones suck. Yeah, Andrew, the location we what I like about this video is you know, I do believe this is like 90 feet away because we have the trees as reference. So now we can kind of deduce from the height of the trees, the distance of the trees from the backyard, stuff like that to see, approximately how far back the objects are, how big they might be, what speed they're traveling, all that sort of stuff. The FBI would eventually be able to investigate and hopefully deduce what it was or wasn't, but we are getting nothing, no metadata, no actual exact time. We have the witness testimony, which is great. I'm all about that, but we don't like what is the purpose of this? Why are we seeing this? I guess it's transparency, but the fact that we're now moving on to like citizen UFO videos, cool, but there's 100,000 million of those right here on YouTube for you to watch and on TikTok. And some of them are way better than this and have much more information than this. So I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating. And honestly, guys, those are the best two videos in this release. I'm not kidding you. There are other videos that are literally digital recreations and renderings that were made, and they consider those videos. Ugh, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Um, a few more things that were released in here. We had the NASA involvement again and got some audio from them yet again, which is pretty cool to hear some of these things. I don't have any of them with me tonight, guys. This is a very raw kind of breakdown for you tonight. Hopefully I can go more in depth with Suzanne in the future on this drop in this release, but I've honestly been busy all day, so I haven't really been able to look at a lot of this stuff. So I do apologize, but stay tuned. We'll look at it and hopefully have some more information. But from the NASA material, one of the more interesting additions is a newly released NASA related audio file involving astronaut Gordon Cooper discussing UFO sightings in a 1962 interview with Walter Cronkite. Cooper was one of the most outspoken astronauts regarding UFOs, and he repeatedly claimed military pilots had encountered unexplained objects. So, while release one focused more on Apollo era transcripts and astronaut observations, this release three, expands that historical record with actual audio material, giving listeners a direct glimpse into how astronauts discussed these incidents decades ago. Now, we did get other audio throughout the releases as well, but one of these is like an hour long. So I'm looking forward to kind of digging into that. That'll be fun. Oh, I didn't mention, guys, the super chat and super stickers are open tonight. If you can help us out, we'd certainly appreciate it. We do have a goal of 5. If we reach our goal of 5 super chats or super stickers tonight, I will put y'all in a hat. I'll pick one of you, and you'll get one of my signed books, whichever book you prefer that I wrote. I've got Somewhere in the Skies, Human Approach to the UFO Phenomenon, and I've got Stories from Somewhere in the Skies, with a third book coming later this year. However, if you would like a signed copy of one of my books, throw a super chat or super sticker in, and if we reach our goal of 5 tonight, I will initiate or activate the lottery, and you guys will all be put into that and hopefully win a book if you want it. Little fun thing we're doing here tonight, and an easy way for you guys to help support all of our endeavors. All these live streams, podcasts, YouTube videos we do, they're free for you to consume always, but they're not free for me to create. So any help you're willing to give is greatly appreciated. So thank you in advance to all of you. Daniel says, I don't think we can trust the government to tell us the truth. They've been lying for over 80 years. Yeah. Yeah. This is the big struggle, man, that's going on. I mean, this can even relate to Disclosure Day. We have never trusted the government when it comes to UFOs, and now it's all we talk about, whether it's congressional UFO hearings or Arrow, the Pentagon UFO office, and all that. So it's been a weird kind of contradictory era of UFO discourse since like 2017. And personally, I'm not a big fan of it. Clearly, I'm riding the wave and taking the journey with you guys, but it's not the ufology I crave. I mean, is this fun? Be honest. Is what we're covering right now, these UFO file releases, is this interesting to you? Or like, does it stretch your mind or your imagination? Or like, does it, is this something you would show to people to be like, hey, UFOs are real? Um, Let me know. I'm actually genuinely interested in your reaction to everything going on in the UFO world since 2017. Like, have we moved the needle, as they say? Has anything changed? Um, what do you think? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments below this video after we're done. I'm genuinely curious. Like, are we any better since 2017? Okay. UFO fatigue, Skywatch says. I'm with you, buddy. I am with you. So some NASA stuff. There was a case out of Zimbabwe, and not the one we're thinking of, not the Rua 1994 contact case, but This file concerns a 2008 CIA investigation, interesting, into a disc-shaped object reported over Harare International Airport in Zimbabwe. Witnesses described a hovering object with rotating lights underneath and beams projecting downward. What makes this notable is that the CIA document explicitly considered two possibilities: an advanced foreign reconnaissance platform or something truly anomalous. Those are two vastly different explanations, if you ask me, with a lot of range in between. The spectrum is real. The government ultimately reached no conclusion. This is one of the few cases in all three of these batch releases involving an international airport and a structured craft rather than just lights or orbs. So that file's interesting. That's one worth checking out, guys, for sure. I'll try to locate it after this and put it in the show notes, unless someone wants to kind of go scour for it now and put it in the chat. I guess look through the CIA stuff for the Zimbabwe case. But let's move to another one: the potato shaped object. I knew we would bring potatoes back. This is this is interesting. A strange 2022 military sighting near Colorado Springs involved what witnesses described as an angular, asymmetrical, potato shaped object. Investigators initially suggested sunlight reflecting off snow in clouds, but Arrow later classified that explanation as, quote, low confidence and left the case unresolved. It's one of the rare examples where an official explanation was proposed and then effectively walked back after that. So interesting, I guess. They were like, yeah, cloud. It was cloud. Cloud be what it is be. And then they're like, wait, no, never mind. It's not. It's a flying potato from Zeta Reticuli. I don't know, guys. I'm trying here, trying to make this stuff interesting. So even throughout the files, I noticed there's a lot of orb stuff, a lot of orb stuff, and a lot of uh, civilian stuff, which is again interesting. It's interesting. I guess we should be kind of happy or thankful that they're now looking at civilian stuff, not just the military videos. And, we want to be a part of this. So I guess we're kind of getting it when it comes to like the FBI and whatnot. But yeah, I I don't know. Again, this is just my initial reactions to this drop. I have not really been able to look into it yet, guys. So I will go through it this week and hopefully be able to find some more stuff about it with you guys. But a lot of orb stuff from what I'm hearing and learning from other people who have kind of dug into it. But I guess to kind of wrap up the UFO file release story, the first release really kind of gave us a lot of historical stuff, right? A lot of really old stuff dating back to the 40s, whether it's like declassified files and studies on UFOs through NASA, through different intelligence agencies and whatnot. So we got a lot of historical stuff in the first one, probably more than Arrow has ever done. So that's cool. The second release gave us more military stuff. So that was pretty cool to see more military stuff involved in that one, which was interesting. But this third release really gave us something different, and that's civilian stuff and ongoing investigations by the FBI mostly. So I'm looking forward to how the FBI is kind of getting involved and actively investigating. Now, when we look at Arrow, they are not so much an investigation per se. They're gathering all these things, but they're such a small group, small office. They gotta work with other agencies on this stuff. And it looks like they're now really working in tandem with the FBI. So the FBI are the ones actually putting like agents out there to investigate. So that's good. That's cool. I really like that. I really like that. So I hope that continues. And look, the majority of stuff in this release came from the FBI. So put two and two together. I like what the FBI is doing with this, so I will continue to follow that thread and see what they come up with. While these videos were nothing to write home about and didn't change anything, this was not disclosure day. Um, it was cool. It was cool to see the FBI kind of putting their stuff out there, and a lot of it's Orby orbs. So we'll see where that's going. We will see where that is going. Nice to see the FBI involved, Hyde says. Yeah, I like it. Potatoes are spud where I live. Spud ships are regularly seen over fish and chip shops. Fark Column says. I love it. I love that. I'm just going up to the chat here, guys. Forgive me. They'll never release the good stuff, Andrew Berger says. Yeah. I mean, what really kind of put the nail in the coffin for me when it comes to this Pursue initiative and what they're doing was when Batch 2 came out and Anna Paulina Luna, the head of that declassification, whatever thing, federal task force thing, she would go on to say in interviews, yeah, this was the meat and potatoes of what this stuff we've seen that defied physics, that was really anomalous and could change humanity if it got out there of what it could be. And she said that stuff was in Batch 2. And then we all saw Batch 2 and we're like, are you kidding me? And now Batch 3, this is the most disappointing one yet. So I think this is it. I don't know if we're going to get any more batches or releases. There was a video that Jeremy Corbell put out. I'm not going to pull it up, but where he said if Pursue and the government and DOD and NDI and ODNI and CIA, if they're not going to release the good stuff, I'm going to release it. And they're not releasing the good stuff. So it's time for Jeremy Corbell to, put his money where his mouth is. And I do believe he probably has stuff that is vastly more compelling and anomalous than this shit. So it's time. You said it, make it happen, Jeremy. And thank you. Thank you for putting yourself out there. We know you have a lot of stuff that has to do with non-human biologics and videos that are as clear as day and a lot of stuff. So let's see it. This third batch was profoundly disappointing. So let's see it. I hope that comes soon from Jeremy Corbell. Put up or shut up, Skywatch says. For sure. It's time. And I think he'll do it. How the public reacts to that and what can be debunked or dismissed is yet to be seen, but let's get it out there. If it's on Weaponized, great. If it's on TMZ, great. I don't care. Just get it out there. War.gov has proven that they're not going to release the good stuff or the actual anomalous stuff. So it's time. It is time. Okay. Let's move to our watch along, shall we? Who's ready to watch some good UFO content for once? We are going to be watching tonight, guys, the UFO Experience from 1982. This is a TV special. I don't know where it aired originally, but it was hosted by Peter Coyote, who we mentioned earlier is the narrator in mostly all of James Fox's documentaries. He was also a character in, I believe it was E.T., right? Wasn't he the kind of government guy in E.T.? I'm getting that right? Am I mistaking him for a different actor? Somebody let me know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that was him, where, he was kind of the one who was like chasing after Elliot and ET, and they wanted to capture ET. But at the end of the day, like Peter Coyote, he believed so much in aliens and he thought he saw a UFO or whatever as a kid. He just wanted to know and see an alien. So he was kind of a kid at heart, even though he worked for the government and whatnot. So yeah, very compassionate antagonist, as it were, when it came to that movie. Chow Bell says they think I'm right. Okay, cool. Hello, Riney Horn. Hello, Chow Bell. Welcome, guys. Good to have you here. LFG Skywatch Signal Go says, "Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's get to the watch along." It's about 40 minutes long, so we're gonna watch. I might stop a couple times with you guys along the way, and then don't leave during or after because I'm gonna do a mini disclosure day. Spoiler free, I promise, non-spoiler kind of review, and then I'm going to announce our full spoiler review of Disclosure Day that I'll be doing this Sunday live right here on the YouTube channel. So stick around for that as well. But let's get this thing going and let's watch the UFO Experience. Again, we are watching this for educational purposes. And let's see, do I have to say anything else legally? I don't know. But if for some reason it gets stopped or we get flagged, guys, we'll just move on to our Disclosure Day discussion. But I think we'll be okay. We'll see. We'll see. Before we start, again, the super chat and super stickers are open. If you have any questions or comments, I'll do a kind of ask me anything after the watch along. Put those in the super chat or super stickers to help us out tonight. We truly appreciate that. If you can't do that, just still put questions in and be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already. That's all I can ask of you guys. So thank you in advance, and let's get to the UFO Experience from 1982. I thought it was going to start. Hold on, I got to re-upload it. The anticipation. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Terry, take a look at these 4 targets. They've been in this approximate area for over an hour. I've never seen anything like it. They hover for a while and then jump to another location.
This is like a scene right out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the beginning. I love it.
3,000 miles an hour.
Have you checked with the military to see if they have anything going out there?
Yeah, and they don't have any scheduled activity tonight, and a weather balloon couldn't begin to do that.
Well, try broadcasting in the blind and see if you get any reply.
This is Magoo Approach Control. Any aircraft within 10 nautical miles of Oxnard Field, identify yourself. I repeat, identify yourself.
There's Pacific 618. Ask him if he sees anything.
Pacific 618, this is Magoo Approach. Traffic at 10 o'clock. Close proximity. Do you see anything?
Roger, Magoo.
Pacific 618 has 2 bright lights, 9 and 10 o'clock position, about 2 miles. Do you show 2 targets?
Pacific 618, this is Magoo Approach. We're painting only 1 target now.
Just a second. It seems to be jumping around at tremendous speeds.
There it goes.
Look at that thing go. What do you make of that?
You got me. Could be military. There it is again.
Top-notch acting.
LA approach, this is Pacific Flight 618, 4 miles northwest of Malibu.
Roger, Pacific. This is Los Angeles Approach Control.
We've got a large white light directly ahead of us.
Estimated range about a mile. Maintaining this separation, and it's playing some strange games with us. Do you show any traffic?
We show nothing on radar anywhere near you.
Impossible.
There it goes again. That can't be a plane.
LA Approach, Pacific 618. Did you just see that?
I've told you, we have nothing, and you have nothing.
Better contact Magoo again.
What you've seen is a reenactment of an incident that took place 5 years ago. To this day, it remains unexplained. These people have joined the ranks of hundreds of others who have also experienced one of the most controversial mysteries of our times, UFOs. If you study the sky in a planetarium, you can be pretty certain that any of your questions can be answered. But if you observe the real night sky, there is a chance that you may see something moving that you don't recognize. A UFO, an unidentified flying object. And for the untrained observer, it is easy to be fooled, and there's usually some simple explanation. But as you've just seen, even for people who are used to watching the sky, there are some things that defy explanation. Hello, I'm Peter Coyote, and in the movie E.T., I play a UFO investigator who, like myself, has always wanted to have a UFO experience.
Yay, I was right. Okay. Now I feel better knowing that I didn't mistake him for someone else. Okay, let's continue. I love the wonder and awe in this of 1982. I mean, again, Andrew Berger said this is when like ET and everything was big and all that. And crazy. I think John Carpenter's The Thing had just come out, if I'm not mistaken. I think those both came out at the same time. So people loved the friendly alien on the planet, but they did not care so much for the thing, the really scary alien that took over people's bodies as a parasite. But anyways, let's get back to this and hear from a very young and dapper Peter Coyote. I love it.
I think that many people are fascinated by the possibility that UFOs might be spacecraft piloted by intelligent beings. In my case, it's a curiosity that's existed for more than 30 years. But the real question is there any validity to the UFO experience? Anything beyond just our wishful thinking? About 90% of the objects that are reported as UFOs are explainable. Usually they turn out to be celestial bodies or military and civilian aircraft, and a certain number of them are hoaxes, like this one and this one. To the skeptics, 35 years of investigations have failed to turn up any evidence that UFOs really exist. One of the leading critics is aviation writer Philip Klass.
Oh no.
Tens of thousands of UFO reports.
Here we go.
Yet there is not a single photograph of an extraordinary craft-like object that cannot be explained as a hoax or in other prosaic terms. There is not a single physical artifact, not a residue, that would say something extraordinary is underway.
Then are UFOs just part of our modern mythology, reflected in Hollywood films?
All through history, mankind has always looked to the skies for help. In times of tension, they've always looked to the skies. And today, when we have the fear of nuclear holocaust, of overpopulation, of pollution, of the energy crisis, my gosh, what's more natural for the people then to say, wouldn't it be nice if some intelligences could come in from above and help us out with all this stuff?
Astronomer Alan Hynek has been studying UFOs for over 30 years now, and he's convinced that there's nothing fictional about them.
Starting as a complete skeptic, I underwent a transformation, and now I've simply, I guess the best way of saying it is it's an itch that I just have to scratch. It's there, and I feel that we have a phenomenon that could be of tremendous potential importance to the human race. I feel that strongly about it.
So who is right, the believer or the skeptic? In a moment, we'll look at the evidence for some answers.
Commercial break. Okay, we're back.
And on a unidentified flying object. That's what people reported seeing on March of 1982, circling the sky over San Francisco.
At least a half dozen people say they saw a UFO near the Golden Gate Bridge this morning. A cluster of lights was first spotted by one commuter crossing the bridge just after 6 a.m.
It looked neon, and it was just kind of hovering, and it looked like a big white wing, you know, to me.
Each year, hundreds of people claim to see UFOs. Most are eventually identified. This particular object turned out to be an advertising plane, which is frequently mistaken for a UFO. When people do see things in the sky,
An advertising plane that literally says UFO. I love it.
Publicly, government agencies claim no interest in UFO sightings. This leaves a few small private organizations the task of investigating the literally hundreds of UFO sightings every year. These organizations are small and have tiny budgets and are staffed by volunteers who must investigate these eyewitness reports in their spare time. Tom Page is a high school astronomy teacher in Northern California. On weekends and whenever time allows, he's a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, one of the largest groups in the country. One of his more recent cases involves a young pilot from Novato, California. Shannon Davis is a flight instructor who has logged over 3,000 hours in the air, 600 of those at night. His sighting on the night of November 5th, 1980 is typical of the 5 to 10% that remain unidentified.
I noticed a light off of my left wing at about the 7 o'clock position of the airplane. And because I was in radar contact with Oakland Center, because of the IFR flight, I asked them how close that aircraft was from us, and they said that they didn't show anything on radar out there. Then I noticed that it pulled up alongside my left wing. It was a bullet shape, rounded at the front, that widened out and then tapered to a point at the end. But one of the things I really wondered about it is around the main body, the center, but just past the nose, there was a ring spinning around it. And it did a couple of things simultaneously. What happened is the pulsation quickened up on the nose, and the whole thing went to a very bright color. At the same time, the ring seemed to spin faster till that whole ring disappeared, and within a matter of seconds, the brightness of the object appeared to be just like a glowing bright fireball. And I kind of jumped because at first I guess I was thinking it was some kind of missile that was detonating, and the thing took off forward, and it shot out to forward of the nose. I estimate about 2 or 3 miles ahead of the aircraft, and it made an instantaneous 90-degree right angle turn, and it went vertical until it went up out of sight.
What could that have possibly have been in 1982 or when this event happened? That's what always intrigues me with these older documentaries and television shows. Like the way he's describing it, the spinning ring and the instant acceleration. I mean, this guy's literally going through like the observables, which a lot of the observables, I'll be honest, are extremely subjective and could be debunked pretty easily. However, I mean, with this, I would want to say it's a drone. I would want to say it's, some sort of balloon or something. Like we can explain away a lot of the stuff in these Pursue Initiative file releases. But again, this is back in the 80s. The way he's describing this is just, it's stunning. And again, trained observer, pilot, knows what's up there, knows what shouldn't be up there. And I love this. I love this.
And I sat there looking at it, and I didn't know what to think.
5 minutes later, Shannon saw the object again, and it repeated the same pattern. Only this time, 2 pilots flying in the opposite direction also saw the UFO.
I have to, to the best of my knowledge, rule out any kind of meteor or shooting star, because I don't know if any meteor that will come alongside, pace you, and then take off forward and go vertical. Okay? Any kind of spacecraft or military aircraft, technically that was defying all physical laws by making an instantaneous 90-degree turn. According to the laws of physics, that can't be done. And, I watched it do it twice.
The first step in any UFO investigation is to check out witness credibility. In this particular case, it was easy since Tom already knew Shannon.
I first met Shannon Davis as a student in one of my classes. As far as the credibility of the witness in this case, I feel that this particular individual is telling the truth. I think he's a very truthful individual. He had no reason to lie. And at the time, he didn't want any publicity. Now he said that he would be willing to make this public just for scientific information.
But one witness does not make a strong case, so Tom tried to locate the other two pilots.
There's a possibility in this particular setting that there were two other witnesses, two pilots who saw something come out of an overcast above Shannon. I do not know what airline they were from, and Shannon didn't either, and we were unable to contact them.
And what about radar? During the encounter, Shannon radioed Oakland Center Flight Facility, but their response was negative.
If a pilot were to inform us that he had a sighting of a UFO in close proximity, we would not be able to distinguish between he and that UFO. It would be all one target to us.
Could the object have been man-made or a natural phenomenon?
None of those things could do the things that this particular object did, moving forward at a high speed, making a right-angle turn. Possibly a military aircraft could, but the military certainly wouldn't be telling us about it.
The case closed. This is how the evidence stood. Was the main witness credible? Yes. Were other eyewitnesses contacted to support the story? No. Was the object tracked on radar? No. Could the object have been man-made or some celestial body? Inconclusive.
That's the problem we have, is that we're basing the whole UFO study on the report of witnesses, and we have to just determine whether these witnesses are telling truth or not.
Shannon believes he saw something extraordinary, and Page agrees with him. But to the doubters, without hard evidence, they're inclined toward a more conventional explanation.
There are dozens, simply dozens of things to be seen in the night skies. And I say to any of your viewers, if they will go out tonight, if it's a clear night, and spend 3 hours looking at the night skies, I can almost guarantee them they will see something that will surprise them, something unusual.
I agree with Philip Klass on that. Simply going outside and looking up, especially in a place that is devoid of light pollution. I remember the first time I went to Arizona for a UFO conference. I had been living in New York State almost my entire life at that point. And I remember going out there, and I was staying at a friend's house in Phoenix, and I looked up into the night sky, and it was the most awe-inspiring thing I'd ever seen. Millions and millions of stars and shooting stars, and the most pitch black curtain with these small white things in front of it. I'd never seen anything like that before, and it was stunning. So I agree with him that looking up in the sky can be extremely awe-inspiring, but you can't say that everything up there is explainable. That's just a extremely narrow-minded way of saying that, in terms of you'll be surprised and you'll see weird stuff, but it can all be explained. Can it? That's pretty ballsy to say.
But ufologists like Page argue that the problem is not the validity of the eyewitness accounts, but the lack of professionally trained, full-time people to investigate cases like Shannon's.
Look, we wouldn't have gone to the moon if we'd had to depend on people who could work only on weekends and without salary, as a hobby. What we need in ufology is to make it professional.
Not all UFO investigators are amateurs. There are professionals, and many with scientific backgrounds, who are conducting diligent studies. Their efforts have brought UFO research out of the realm of fantasy into a brighter, more realistic light.
Commercial break. Everyone, take a sip.
In the last 40 years, technology has moved us from an earthbound existence straight into the outer reaches of space. And now that technological know-how is being used to try and unravel the UFO mystery. John Schuessler is a mechanical engineer for McDonnell Douglas and NASA. Here at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Schuessler has worked on several space programs, including Skylab and the Space Shuttle. Schuessler's lifelong interest in UFOs prompted him to bring together other interested aerospace workers and form a group called VISIT.
Our Project VISIT is a very unique organization in that our acronym stands for Vehicle Internal Systems Investigative Team. And by that we mean that UFOs, if they exist, must have internal systems.
I've never heard of Visit. Get digging, chat. What is Visit? I mean, I guess we're going to learn a little bit more about it here, but Schuessler was such a big part of MUFON. I've never heard of this, I guess, side project called Visit. Color me intrigued.
As do our spacecraft, such as the space shuttle. We feel that by investigating cases where there are unique attributes such as medical injuries, abductions, trace effects, materials, metals, photographs, anything technological, that we can take the end result and model it, backtrack, and define and design exactly what happened.
Over the past several months, Schuessler and his group have accumulated a file of 100 cases of UFO encounters in which people were injured. One of the most intriguing cases that Schuessler and his group are investigating involves these women, Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and Vicki's grandson, Colby.
Cash Landrum. This story is heartbreaking.
In 1980, the three of them encountered an unusual object on the outskirts of Houston.
We had been driving out this country road, which it is a very desolate area, and all of a sudden we seen this object. So I didn't know whether to stop, to back up, keep going, or what. So we just kept driving. We thought, well, maybe it's an air balloon or something, you know, weather balloon or something. But the closer we got, we could tell that either it was going to be us or it, because it kept getting lower and getting hotter.
And this object come down almost to the treetops, almost ahead of us, and I screamed for Betty to stop. And I think if she hadn't stopped and we went on under it, we would have burned up. I got out in the car, Kobe and me, for about, I guess, a minute or two, and he was screaming like he was trying to get away from me and then pulling me back in the car, and I got back in the car, and Betty walked to the head of the car.
I thought it was the end of time, because I've always been taught the Bible says the world will be destroyed by fire, hell and brimstone. Well, how did I know that the hell and brimstone wasn't right there with it?
Oof,
and as hot as it was, if hell is any hotter, God forbid I want to live a good life, because it was just almost unbearable.
I kept trying to calm Kobe, and I couldn't. I had to tell him something that would calm him, and I said, if you see this big man come out of it, it'd be Jesus.
Well, I just had a feeling to look up in the sky. Then I looked around a little bit more and I saw that object. It looked like a diamond. It lit up the whole sky.
It was a grayish, metallic-looking color, but yet the flames that was throwing out was a reddish, yellowish-looking glow.
Besides the strange object, they all claim to have seen several helicopters hovering around it.
Just about the minute that I got up close enough to really make the shape of the object, whatever it is, the helicopters were there.
We was amazed at, you know, what kind of helicopters there were. We were about scared to death. The double rotary kind of helicopters, I never saw one before.
Whatever they saw that night, the physical impact was immediate. Within hours, they were suffering from severe headaches, diarrhea, and vomiting. Betty Cash had the worst symptoms.
Her main problem at that time was severe headache, swelling of the face, swelling of the eyelids, and the swelling of the skull, that is the top of the head.
The fear of ridicule kept Betty from telling about her UFO encounter. But weeks later, when patches of her hair started falling out, she told her doctor about the incident.
Oh, my God.
Specialists were brought in, including a dermatologist and a radiologist, to run tests. They all turned up negative. John Schuessler and his group started their own investigation several months later. Despite the inconclusive medical reports, Schuessler believes that all 3 victims received some kind of radiation exposure caused by the UFO.
It's a package of symptoms that all 3 had, and all 3 being different kinds of people. That's the significant thing. From their age, the past history, medical history, etc. But they all had common symptoms. The common symptoms all manifested themselves right after the incident, starting within hours.
And what about the helicopters that were supposedly hovering around the object? Schuessler's investigators found other witnesses who saw them.
The helicopters must have been military if they existed. That has to be a given. There are no civilian operations of CH-47 Chinook-type helicopters in the Houston or Gulf Coast area.
Major Dennis Hare is a commander with the National Guard at Ellington Air Force Base near Houston. He says none of the Chinooks in his unit flew the night of the incident.
What? Then whose were they? This Chinook helicopter thing always fascinated me with this case. Oh man, this is interesting. I never knew that they like spoke to one of the actual helicopter pilots that would have been in the area when this crazy physiological event happened. So let's keep going.
I personally was not up in the air that night, and to the best of my knowledge, no member of my unit or the aircraft that's under my command were up in the air on that particular date.
A fleet of helicopters, an unidentified flying object, and 3 victims who were injured by it. What do they all add up to? No one is sure. Schuessler and his group think that one possible explanation is that our government may have been testing a secret aircraft that night, powered by some type of microwave propulsion system. The craft may have gone out of control, almost touching down when Betty, Vicky, and Colby saw it.
They have what would normally be seen from a heavy dose of microwave and possibly an X-ray component. And we do know that pulsed microwave gives off an X-ray component.
But if the military is involved, they deny it.
Citizens of the United States were subjected to chemical exposures, radiation exposures, and various other things over the past 30 years at different times in the interest of research or military operations. And a lot of those people kept saying, hey, look, I was hurt. Believe me, I was hurt. And everybody said, you're crazy. It couldn't have happened.
As for Betty and Vicky, they still suffer from hypersensitivity to heat.
I do expect them to take care of my medical bills and what I have had to go through with and what I'm still going through with and what I may have to continue for years.
I don't believe in the little green men and all of that stuff from outer space. But if it's something that people don't know about, and it slipped in here and did that to us, and the government say they don't know about it when they had the helicopters up there, we in a terrible shape. Because if it can happen to us, it could happen to a whole city.
A postscript to the case. Vicky and Betty have filed suit against the federal government, attempting to win compensation for their injuries. They remain firmly convinced that whatever it was they saw, it was attached to the United States military. After pressure from a Texas congressman, the U.S. Air Force sent its own special investigator to look into the matter. His report states that he was unable to find any connection whatsoever between the UFO and any branch of the U.S. military. And so the case remains unsolved, but it does raise some questions. Is it possible that some unidentified flying objects could be secret U.S. military test planes? And if so, what recourse do citizens have if they are injured by them?
They did not win that lawsuit, spoiler alert. And I believe one of them, I don't remember which, I do apologize. It's been a while since I've looked into the case, passed away not too long after that from, complications that they believed were part of this event. So crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Dawn says, I think I've seen this case before. Didn't the car have paint damage? I don't know. That's a very good question. I know there's paint damage in the what was it, Val Johnson case, or the police officer where the UFO literally hit his car. There's a bunch of damage in that case, but I don't know. Very good question. If anyone knows, please let Dawn know. All right, let's keep going. Or we'll take a commercial break. How you guys doing? Take a sip, stretch your legs. We'll be back to the UFO experience. Oh, right now. I totally planned that.
The earth, it's so beautiful.
Where is it?
Below me,
And what are you doing?
flying around. We're leaving the earth.
Under deep regressive hypnosis, Carol Del Duca is recounting a bizarre story in which she was whisked away in a spaceship. Her husband Joseph, also under hypnosis, tells the same story. Is it real or imagined?
In the whole area of UFO experiences, the strangest and most controversial are the abduction cases. Since the early 1970s, there have been well over 300 incidents of people claiming to have been forcibly abducted and taken onto spaceships where they met extraterrestrial beings. These incredible stories have divided UFO investigators. Our own examination of this began with Joseph and Carol Del Duca's own story.
It was sort of like a glow on the outside.
The Del Duca case was investigated by Dr. Richard Sigismund, a social psychologist in Boulder, Colorado. Their story begins late one night while driving down a lonely stretch of highway on their way home from a trip with their 4-month-old son. All they can remember is seeing 4 UFOs. Only under deep hypnosis do they begin to fill in the lost hours.
4, 5, sleep.
Joe and Carol are each hypnotized separately, but relate similar stories.
Pulling into the woods.
You're pulling into where?
The woods.
What are you doing there?
We're going to the spaceship.
Going to a what?
A
Carol?
spaceship.
Going into a what?
Tell me what you're doing then.
Going into the room.
What do you guys think of hypnosis regression? I really want to know, because this is what mostly all alien abductees end up doing at one point or another. Do you think it serves any benefit? Do you think these are actual memories suppressed? Or are they masking something else? I'm genuinely curious where people land on that. Let me know in the chat. Heavily suggestible, Garrett says. Let's keep going.
It's a bright room. It's a bright room. What are you doing in this room, Joe?
Just laying there.
In these rooms, Joe and Carol talk about undergoing some kind of physical examination.
They're looking at my feet.
They're looking at your feet, you said?
Yes. He's hurting me.
What'd you say, Carol? It's all right to tell me, Carol.
They're hurting my ankle.
They're doing what?
They pulled on my ankle. It feels like they broke it.
people. Will you describe these people to me, Joe? Tell me what you see. Tell me what they're doing, if anything.
They got little ribs all up and down. They're real skinny at the waist, but they have a big chest.
It's clear that Joe and Carol are reliving an intensely emotional experience, especially Joe, who describes an unusual meeting with one of the entities.
He just pulled me out.
Pulled you out of what, Joe?
Out of my body. I'm one, but I'm two. He's so nice. He's warm. He likes me.
Bruh,
Were
that
Joe
is
and
freaky.
Carol abducted by aliens from another world, or did they imagine it? Dr. Sigismund believes it did happen.
The stories on every significant, in fact, minor details, they match. Even though each individual had distinctly different type of experience, which they relived under the hypnosis, nonetheless, if they were describing the shape of the so-called craft, or they're describing the suits of the entities, it all dovetailed to a minute degree. It would be a great difficulty if individuals sought to perpetrate a hoax to maintain it under deep hypnosis.
We sometimes doubted ourselves. Did that really happen? That's incredible. But after we realized that this was a good thing, and very few people have the privilege of getting to do something like that, that it left us with good feelings.
It was just mind-boggling, but there was a lasting impact.
But the theory of abductions is being challenged by this team of investigators. Dr. Alvin Lawson, an English professor at Long Beach State University, Dr. William McCall, a medical doctor who specializes in hypnotism, and John Herrera, a writer.
They look like a fun
demonstrated for us
bunch.
a basic experiment that they have conducted with hundreds of people. They hypnotize a person who believes she was abducted, and a volunteer who is told to imagine an abduction. The result? Both stories are similar.
What is it that you're seeing?
They're shapes, and they're looking down at me.
They're tall and slim, with large eyes, long fingers.
It's like this bright light in their heads looking down at me. But they're like shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And something's passing across.
Yes.
It's sort of like a piece of something.
They're looking into my eyes. There's no communication that they know what I'm thinking. No verbal communication.
It's like they're bleeping something at me, like electrical impulses or something.
In general, the imaginary and the real experiences as we've experienced them here are identical. I mean, there are no real substantive differences. All of these indicate to me that, and to my colleagues, I'm sure, that the imaginary or that the abduction narratives aren't real physical experiences. That is, there are not aliens coming here. And they indicate, however, that the people believe that something might well have happened to them. This is what's so fascinating. I think something quite real in psychological terms is happening to these people. I don't think little green men are doing it. I think we're doing it, or the mind is doing it to us.
Experiments by Lawson, McCall, and others seem to prove that abductions are essentially psychological. This does not invalidate them, however, and they are still happening to people all over the world. It's up to the researchers to find out why.
That's interesting, that he's saying these are not like physical abductions by an extraterrestrial presence. This is something going on in the mind. It's a phenomenon happening in the mind, not so much like a mass hysteria or a game of telephone or something like that, but literally something mental. But what is that? Like, if you're going to explain away the physical aspect of these abductions happening, i.e., like people being kidnapped by aliens, brought on a craft, experimented on, brought back, blah, blah, blah. If you're going to explain that away with another explanation, you need to be able to explain that explanation, right? It's like saying a UFO is ball lightning. We don't even know how ball lightning actually works, what it is. We have theories, but they have not scientifically proven exactly what ball lightning is. So you can't use that as an explanation for a lot of UFOs if you can't explain what ball lightning is. So I don't know. It's interesting, it's fascinating, but yeah, the whole hypnotic regression thing has always been weird for me as I've navigated my own personal thoughts and beliefs on the abduction phenomenon. I don't necessarily recommend it any longer to abductees or experiencers who come to me. I tell them go to an actual therapist, like heal yourself mentally before, trying to get put under, and because you might not like the answers you get, and the answers you get might not be the actual answers. We just don't know. We don't know. Um, Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to upload a version of this that's a little I sped it up a little bit. It's gonna cut off about, a solid 10 minutes of what we're watching, just sped up so you're not losing anything. It's just a little faster so that we can get through it a little quicker. So I'm gonna stop talking or else we're wasting time. So give me one sec. And we're gonna start it right from here. It's just gonna be a little bit quicker. All right. Bear with me for one sec. Okay. Oh, no. It went to the beginning. Was not planning on that. Let's see. Oh, was that it? No. Where did it go? We're about right. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Guatemala City, 1976. A TV crew is shooting a commercial when they suddenly spot something strange flying overhead. To this day, no one has been able to identify it. But as spectacular as it appears, this videotape and other forms of pictorial evidence have only limited value in our understanding of UFOs. Richard Haynes is a research scientist who has studied many photographs.
In order to make sense out of photographic evidence, it's extremely important to know a great deal about the photographer, about the camera system he uses, about the development process that is used, and in general about the context in which the picture was taken. Oftentimes we come across photographic evidence long after the fact, and because of that we don't have much of that fine detail information that we need to do a good systematic analysis.
But with the development of sophisticated image enhancement equipment, investigators can gain new information from photographs. Haynes demonstrated how this can be done by analyzing this particular photograph. The picture of a tiny object trailing a plane has long been considered by ufologists to be a good example of photographic evidence of a UFO. But skeptics claim the object is really something on the ground. To try to settle the question, Haynes had the photograph put through a process called color enhancement. This gives the picture more detail, allowing Haynes to do a more extensive analysis.
What our analysis has just shown of the digitization of this photograph is that the darkness of this major disc-shaped image right here is very close to the same darkness as the tail structure here of the airplane, the wing tank, and the main body. And we find that there's no objects on the ground at that equivalent range with the equivalent darkness. Now, what this suggests then is that in fact it's an airborne object.
But even faux enhancement equipment has its limits.
In the final analysis, however, we're stuck with an image of something we don't understand. If that enhancement process shows the image to be an airplane outline, we're home free. But on the other hand, if it shows a symmetrical airform An oblate spheroid, for instance, with no means of propulsion or support or lift, we're right back where we started, you see. So photographic analysis must be coupled with a very creative approach on the part of the photo interpreter.
So without additional evidence, photographs of UFOs really prove nothing at all. But when there is additional evidence, ufologists believe that they can make a strong case.
That's so interesting how that mirrors what we're going through today in a completely different light. You know, they're saying like photographs can't actually prove anything. Now we live in an age where you can literally create a UFO photo and video within seconds. And it could be more convincing than these horrible videos we're getting from the Pentagon and all of them, which actually makes me believe they're authentic because they're so bad. So there's no in between any longer. When we once thought we could depend on video and photographic evidence for UFOs, we now live in an age where those are the things we cannot trust any longer. And what are we left with? Which is what we've been left with for centuries of UFO encounters. We're left with witness testimony. Is that proof? No. But at the end of the day, it's the beginning of every UFO report. And I guess I'm arguing that it's also the end of every UFO report, whether explained or inconclusive. So interesting, interesting.
And right now, we look at one of their strongest.
No other pictorial evidence has created as much interest as these images shot from an airplane during the early morning hours of December 31st, 1978. This is the New Zealand film, considered by most experts to be the single strongest evidence of a UFO ever captured on film. To most of us, it may not seem impressive, a small, bright light in the night sky off the New Zealand coast. But it is the only case of a UFO that was seen by several pilots and crew members, picked up on radar, and photographed on several thousand frames of 16mm color film shot by a TV crew.
It appears to have a brightly lit bottom and a transparent sort of sphere on top, so it appears to be, well, like a flying saucer.
No one has studied the New Zealand film more than this man. Bruce Maccabee is a physicist who spent over a year analyzing the film.
Now, my claim is that having looked at the film and the whole sighting in general, that the film shows objects which cannot be identified by conventional means.
To arrive at that conclusion, Maccabee first flew the same route in which the sightings were made. He set out to disprove one of the first conventional explanations offered, that the object was a celestial body, like Venus.
The lights that they were talking about was below the level of that mountain range.
First of all, that is a very young Bruce Maccabee. Love it. Love it. Second of all, he went to New Zealand to try to recreate this. Am I hearing that correctly? Either way, he tried to recreate this scenario. That's where ufology should be. Instead, it's all of us on these stupid screens bitching back and forth about this and that, about that and this, and complaining and being like, that's not real. You're dumb. I don't believe you. You're a grifter. That's stupid. UFOs are all explainable. It's a psyop. Epstein files, UFO, UAP, alien abduction. I hate you. I love you. This is dumb. This is hilarious. This is scary. That's ufology today. When these guys are just like actually out there, like putting the work in to try to explain these things. Yeah, that just looks like a blob in the sky to me. But then you've got pilots in different planes and vantage points reporting this thing. So Matt, what does Maccabee say? I'm going to go out and try to recreate this. That's what ufology should be.
In other words, silhouetted against the mountain range, if you wish, rather than above the mountain range. So I don't see any celestial body that could have done that. Also, if you look at the image carefully, you will see it does strange things, like when it tends to fade out, it changes its shape from being sort of oval to sort of thin in a vertical direction, and then just fades out.
Other skeptics suggested that the light came from squid boats, which use bright lights to draw squid to the water surface. To eliminate that possibility, Maccabee made a direct comparison between a squid boat light and the light in the film.
The squid boat picture clearly shows a reflection in the water, extending underneath the image of the squid boat, sort of a dull reddish triangular reflection extending downwards. In none of the images in this UFO film have I been able to find any indication of a reflection in the water, which you would expect if it's a squid boat.
According to air controllers, their radar picked up the object and estimated the distance to the airplane at between 10 to 20 miles. Using a densitometer, an instrument that measures film density, Maccabee was able to determine the object's brightness.
If the light source had been, for example, 10 nautical miles away, then it was putting out a power equivalent to several 100,000 watts worth of incandescent light bulbs. A several 100,000 watt source is not a small amount of power. That's an awful lot of energy being used up, and they saw this thing for 15 minutes, so it must have been a considerable source of power by itself.
But the most amazing conclusion that Maccabee reached centered on these last few feet of film, shown here in extremely slow motion. It shows the object flashing from bright white to a dim red and then orange color.
The periodicity of this flashing is essentially perfect for 30 cycles. Now, such a regular flashing of a light implies intelligent control. We could find no human-made light source to account for it. So the periodicity suggests intelligence, and yet we can't find any conventional explanation. So that suggests that we have some sort of an intelligence on our hands here, and that removes it beyond the pale of science, I'm afraid.
No one has yet been able to refute any of Maccabee's work. He believes that the significance of the New Zealand film goes far beyond the scope of just one case.
The hard evidence left over in this case suggests we have something which cannot be explained in conventional terms, and that opens up a new field of investigation in science. It suggests that we should go back and rethink what we've been saying about other UFO cases.
That was awesome. Great analysis. Got about a quarter of the way left, guys.
October 25th, 1975.
Oh, let's go.
Fighter planes are sent in hot pursuit after an unidentified flying object seen hovering over missile sites at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana.
Maelstrom.
NORAD, the North American Air Defense, reports that the jets failed to intercept the object. For the next 2 months, NORAD recorded other sightings of UFOs over missile launching sites and nuclear weapons storage areas in Michigan, Maine, and North Dakota. In all cases, our jets were unable to overtake the objects. The 1975 sightings show us dramatically that unidentified flying objects have invaded our airspace. And yet, since 1969, the federal government's position has been that it is not interested in investigating UFOs. It was in 1969 that the Air Force ended Project Blue Book, a 21-year investigation of UFOs. Their basic conclusion was that lack of evidence warranted no further study of the matter.
There was no evidence of threat to national security. There was no evidence that we had been visited by extraterrestrial vehicles. And finally, there was no evidence that, after evaluating these UFO sightings, that there was any indication of scientific knowledge, the existence of scientific knowledge beyond the present state of knowledge.
What a shill. Bro, we all know about the estimate of the situation now that was conducted by the United States Air Force in conjunction with Project Blue Book. And their initial conclusion was that the possibility of extraterrestrial, visitation was actually one of the highest probabilities. And then that was stamped out for some reason. But that was one of their initial priority explanations for some of these things. So again, Project Blue Book, I've got it right behind me here. I've got the files. That was like a gift from the Project Blue Book television series from the History Channel that they gave me. Maybe I'll show it at the end here. But yeah, like total press, like publicity stunt. It's sad. It's sad. I'm so happy J. Allen Hynek came out on the other side of that, being like, I'm going to start my own UFO investigation group because this one is a bullshit.
But government documents on the NORAD incidents, as well as thousands of other reports, reveal that the government continues to investigate a phenomenon that is much more than just a few isolated incidents. Since 1969, as many as 10 governmental agencies have been involved in UFO inquiries, including the CIA, the FBI, the National Security Agency, and the Air Force. Attorney Peter Gersten has led the fight to unearth these documents on behalf of a group called Citizens Against UFO Secrecy.
The documents confirm the reality of these unconventional objects, and there is furthermore evidence that these objects exhibit technology that is beyond present-day technology, and advanced technology, and more sophisticated technology.
A graphic example of that technology was reported in this document about an incident on September 19th, 1976 in Iran. An F-4 jet similar to this one was sent to intercept unusual objects seen over the city of Tehran.
This is my all-time favorite UFO case. It's the first case that I ever got documents back on from a Freedom of Information Act request that John Greenwald helped me file. And the files I got back read like a science fiction novel, and it blew my mind, and it really sent me on this path to continue looking into UFO cases. This case is everything to me. Let's do it.
As the F-4 approached the brilliant object, the jet lost all instrumentation and communication. Later, when the jet tried to shoot a missile at a second object, the F-4's weapon control panel went dead.
What makes this incident interesting and significant is that it involves the malfunction of an American-made defensive tactical weapon system, specifically an F-4 jet. The interesting part of the incident is that the Defense Intelligence Agency did an evaluation of the incident and found the incident to be a classic UFO case because of eyewitness verification, confirmed by radar, and so forth.
Documents show repeatedly that UFOs have been able to penetrate our military airspace. In one incident in 1980, UFOs were seen over Kirkland Air Force Base in New Mexico. The base is a highly sensitive installation that includes an advanced weapons research laboratory. Documents show that bright objects were able to land at the base undetected by radar. When security police tried to pursue the objects, they took off.
UFOs pose a threat to national security for many reasons, the first of which relate to the general principle that these objects have been unable to be identified by this government for the last 35 years. Another reason we see in the documents, which relate to the overflights over the military bases in 1975, the unrestricted and unlimited access that these objects had.
But Gersten and his group have been stopped in their pursuit of more information. The CIA refused to send Gersten 57 documents, and the Air Force has 100 documents that it refused to release. And recently, the National Security Agency did not release 160 documents for the same reason, national security. And in May of this year, the Supreme Court agreed with that agency.
The release of that information would be both embarrassing to the agency because it would show, once again, that the objects exist, that the objects are an advanced technology, and the objects do, in one way or another, pose a threat. So they don't want to release the information for that reason.
How much should the public be told about our government's investigations of UFOs? It's true that some information pertains to national defense and should be classified. But what about other information? What's needed now are not more secrecy-shrouded investigations, but a joint effort between government and scientists dedicated to unraveling the UFO mystery. Because it's obvious that Project Blue Book was not the last word on the subject.
I love how he just had that Project Blue Book in his back pocket. That was very dramatic. And he's so right. Like the things, the struggles we were dealing with back then that cause was trying to, unravel and everything, is still going on today. These pursue initiative batch releases of things are a distraction from other vastly more important things going on in the world right now, and the Epstein files and the war in Iran and in Israel and Palestine and everything going on politically in the United States and abroad and all of that stuff. UFOs have always been used as a distraction, but these file releases and everything right now is just that. It's a distraction, and it's also a way to be like, here, you got it. Leave us alone. We have to go fight wars and continue funding the war machine. It's going on back then. It's going on now. I love looking back at these things, but it does give me shivers at how much things have not changed in many different ways. But we're coming up kind of towards the end of this, guys. So continue watching, and then I'm going to do a little mini review of Disclosure Day and share some exciting news about our full review that we'll be doing of Disclosure Day live this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. But let's keep watching. Bye, Garrett. And thank you, Jamie T. Spirit. Excuse me, Jamie. Thank you for the super chat. Truly do appreciate that. Go buy yourself half a beer. I will. I will. Thank you.
Many astronomers would agree that it is likely that there are other civilizations in our galaxy. But most astronomers doubt that we have been visited by aliens.
You see, no other civilization could know in advance that we exist, because our only means of telling them about us are by radio waves that we broadcast into space, and we've only been doing that half a century, which means there's a big sphere of radio radiation expanding outward at the speed of light. That's how fast radio waves go. Now about 50 light years in radius. And even with the most optimistic guesses, the most likely nearest civilization is many times further away than that. So any extraterrestrial spaceships visiting Earth would have to have been cruising around sort of at random, looking in space in general. And if you work out the numbers, it turns out you'd have to suppose that every conceivable civilization that could exist would be launching ships at the rate of one every few seconds to account for the number of reports of UFOs that are made here on the Earth.
If not aliens, then what do UFOs represent? For scientists like Abel, the answer is very little, if anything.
I think it's fair to say that members of the scientific community would be extremely delighted to investigate UFOs very seriously if there was anything concrete to investigate. The difficulty is, the more you look into it, the more you find the evidence is hearsay or slipshod evidence or things which we can very well understand without the need to investigate.
I can appreciate the desire of the physical scientists, the so-called hard scientists, to have what they call hard data. I would like it too. But when you have a phenomenon that doesn't seem to produce the hard data, one might as well have asked Sigmund Freud, what is the hard data in dream analysis? What do you take in the laboratory? What do you put under a microscope in dream analysis? And yet we have the whole structure of psychoanalysis today.
What a good point. You know, I was going to make the argument that, you know, UFOs are so fleeting. They blink in and out of existence, presumably in many cases. They exhibit these observables, as we say, instant acceleration and even like, you know, sometimes cloaking and things like that and transmedium travel. Like that was going to be kind of my argument, but Hynek says it's so much better. You know, yeah, like we want the hard data, but you know, we don't base everything off of that, especially in the soft sciences when it comes to psychology and things like that. So, you know, sometimes you just can't do it. You just can't do it. We are living in the dream world, in the dream land of crazy UFOs, and that's sometimes all we have. But I see both sides of the argument, for sure. Scientists want data. They want to pull down the UFO and study it and examine it. Hell, we all do, but that's just not the way these phenomena work.
And so we've come full circle around the subject of UFOs, and it's a standoff between those who believe and those who don't. But it seems to me that ufologists have a strong case when they argue for a serious investigation of the phenomenon, because scientists who dismiss UFOs are either unwilling or unable to refute the most outstanding cases, like the New Zealand film.
If documents show that sightings over military installations are taken seriously by our government, shouldn't that be investigated? If a videotape shows an object that defies identification, shouldn't it be analyzed? And if people believe they were abducted by aliens from outer space, isn't that a subject that merits psychological study? Dr. Haynes and others say yes, and they make a plea for time and money to do a thorough investigation of the strongest UFO cases. But even more important, they want their fellow scientists to keep an open mind.
Because we're dealing with a phenomenon we don't understand. And because of that, we need to keep every avenue open in terms of the approach taken to understand it. It might take physics, some breakthrough in molecular physics, let's say, or plasma physics. It might take some understandings of the psyche, of the unconscious. It might take a combination of the two. It might take some totally new field of science we don't have yet.
Ufology today is in the state, I would say, that, say, chemistry was when chemistry was alchemy. A mixture of superstition, wild ideas, unproved claims, and yet out of that whole mess, finally, the very first-class science of chemistry evolved. And I think the same thing is going to happen eventually with ufology. But right now, it is a mess. There's a fantastic amount of wishful thinking, of desire of pseudoscience, of pseudo-religion, of cultism, But eventually I think that will all finally sink to the bottom, and we'll have out of the whole thing a clear liquid of something that we can really see, and I hope understand.
Interesting. 1982. This is filmed. Have those things sunk to the bottom, guys? Cultism, religion, pseudoscience. What do you think? I'm going to have Patrick Armstrong from Vetted on the Somewhere in the Skies podcast this Monday talking about psionics, his brand new documentary about psionics. Kind of a metaphysical pseudoscience right there, or approach. You got people going out and doing CE5 or praying to summon in UFOs. I wonder what Valet. I wonder what Hynek would think about ufology today.
It doesn't seem likely that the government will join with scientists in a complete public investigation of the UFO phenomenon. And this leaves the job to be done by the Alan Hyneks and the Richard Hayneses and the hundreds of investigators all over the world struggling against all odds to make some sense of the UFO experience. But the lack of information does not diminish our interest. Indeed, it's the mystery that feeds our imagination and allows us to wonder about marvelous possibilities.
All right. That was the UFO Experience from 1982 with a young Peter Coyote. I love it. That was so good. That was so good compared to a lot of these things. They put a lot of care into it, and I love it. Was like right down half and half in terms of believers and skeptics. It was a perfect, I guess, documentary about UFOs, and that was in 1982. I only wish and pray that they were of that quality today. There's some out there for sure. You got James Fox's The Phenomenon, which I consider the preeminent documentary on UFOs, bar none, across the board. No, not the age of disclosure era, whatever the hell that thing's called. That is one of the worst documentaries I've seen on UFOs, to be honest. Sorry, not sorry, but it is. But this was awesome. Thank you so much for watching this with me, guys. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for navigating my bumpy road through the UFO files of batch 3. But what I want to end with tonight with you guys is Disclosure Day. Who's seen it? It opens tonight in the United States, so I'm sure some of you have seen it. We got it 2 days early here in the UK. Some of the UFO people and journalists got to see it even before that. So all the reviews are starting to come out and whatnot. I did a kind of a little mini initial reactions coming out of the theater. No spoilers in that, but I will be doing a full spoiler heavy review this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 p.m. UK time. And I thought, who better to do a review of Spielberg's work with, and who better to do a review of a UFO movie with than one of the co-authors of literally the book called After Disclosure, and also his partner in crime in the Hollywood world when it comes to UFO movies and television shows. So I'm happy to announce that this upcoming Sunday live, we'll be doing this episode live. We are going to have Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman coming on the show to do Disclosure Day, a full spoiler review. I am so freaking excited about this. I know Bryce has seen the movie, I think 3 times now. At this point, he got to sit next to George Knapp and watch it in Las Vegas. I think he's seeing it in Texas as well. And he saw it one other time after that. But they are going to come on the show on Sunday. They're so gracious with their time and break this down with me. And yeah, I am super, super excited to have them on the show to do that. But yeah, you know, I think when this movie was first announced and all this mythology behind Steven Spielberg being in the know and being the one to kind of disclose UFOs through Hollywood to the public, that we thought this movie was going to be actual disclosure of some sort, right? There was going to be something in the movie that led us to believe, oh, that's real. That's real. Read between the lines or not read between the lines. Maybe he's going to insert the actual Roswell crash UFO footage or something in the movie. Um, I'm not going to say what's in the movie. I'm not going to say what's not in the movie. I'm just going to say this is a movie and it's a Steven Spielberg movie. Go in thinking that if you haven't seen it yet, go in to have a good time and be entertained and go in to appreciate a lot of the research that went into this movie. And it is clearly made by a filmmaker who's passionate about the topic of UFOs and the possibility of life elsewhere in the cosmos. That is Steven Spielberg. Um, I have taken over the reins of the Somewhere on the Screen podcast, which is a movie review podcast. I took the keys from my buddies Nick Westermeyer and Chris Moss, and my first episode of that podcast, Somewhere on the Screen, which you can subscribe to right now, wherever you get podcasts. Episode 1 is out, and I do an analysis and review of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That is the preeminent UFO movie, in my opinion. Um, does Disclosure Day beat that? You're gonna have to wait to hear Sunday for my review and what these guys have to say. But for me personally, I will say right here, spoiler alert: Close Encounters is it for me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the movie after you see it. Again, don't put any spoilers in the chat. A lot of people still have to wait. Suzanne can't see it until 2 days from now, so she's just like champing at the bit. But I promised her I wouldn't give anything away. But yes, we will be doing a live review where we will be going heavily into spoilers. So you have been warned. We will warn you a lot during the live stream that it is a spoiler heavy episode. But I'm super excited to hear what these guys have to say. Bryce has already put out one review, and we talked privately and we agree on a lot of things. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the things we might not agree on either. You know, I come from a playwriting background and a script writing background, and I was less than impressed with the script for this movie, the dialogue specifically by David Cope, a writer that's worked with Spielberg on many movies, including Close Encounters of the Third Kind, including War of the Worlds. I don't know if he did E.T. I'm not sure on that. But you know, Bryce obviously comes from a screenwriting background and television writing background. So I'm really interested to dive into that with these guys, like the script and how they handled the UFO centric dialogue, as it were, and just the story structure and all of that. And then what does this have to say about disclosure? So I also want to learn and talk to Bryce about like how did this match his book? Him and Richard Dolan over, gosh, 15 years ago wrote the book after disclosure. What happens the day after disclosure? This movie asks the question, what happens on the day, the hour, the minute, the second disclosure happens? Again, not going to give anything away. But yeah, so I'm really interested to hear like what they thought back then about the book and what this movie had to say about it now. So yeah, yeah. David Cope started with Spielberg on Jurassic Park. Oh, okay. So he did not write Close Encounters. He did not write E.T. Got it. Thank you, Andrew Berger. Appreciate that. That's why we have a filmmaker in the chat. He started. Yeah. Okay. Did you guys see David Cope at the LA premiere of the movie? He was going to take a picture with the cast and he bit it. He tripped and fell on his face. It was, oh, poor guy. Poor guy. But I will not forgive him for some of the things in this script. He said he did 40 scripts before the final script for this movie. 40 drafts for this movie. That astounds me. I won't say anything else until Sunday. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Thanks for watching along to the UFO Experience from 1982. Thanks for dealing with my bemoaning of batch 3 of the Pursue Initiative file release. Do you think we're going to get any more releases from the government Um, I don't. I think that was it. I think the only thing to do now is to get angry and go to Jeremy Corbell and bang on his door. And I don't mean literally, do not dox this man, but reach out to him and say, dude, it's time. Like you say you have this shit that's gonna like change the world, release the Kraken. That's it. That is it. Um, cool. That's going to do it, guys. But before we go, join me this upcoming Monday for my interview with Patrick Armstrong of Vetted. We're going to talk about his brand new documentary, Psionics, The Minds That Summon UFOs. You can find it right now to watch at psionics.film. Again, that's psionics.film. And if you buy it there, you will get over 3 hours of additional material that Patrick was able to get for this documentary. We talk all about it. We get brutally honest about, some of these people he interviewed and the approaches they've taken. We go deep into Jake Barber and Skywatcher and what's going on with all of that stuff, and just his thoughts, theories, and his experiments that he did with psionics. He literally went out in the field. He traveled all over the United States and he tried psionics. He tried remote viewing, and the results were very interesting. See them for yourself in the documentary. Again, psionics.film. Watch it and then come join us for our interview with Patrick this Monday. It is available right now, early access for YouTube channel members, for Patreon subscribers, and Apple Premium subscribers as well. The video versions are all available for that also. Before we get going, I want to give a special thanks once again to Jamie Tree Spirit for the super chat. To Dawn, thank you so much for the super chat. Here's the other half for your beer. Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate that. And Daniel, thank you so much for the super sticker, guys. I really do appreciate that. Again, every penny goes back into making the show bigger and better. It's free for you guys to consume, not free for me to create. So I truly appreciate that immensely. If it can't help out financially on your way out tonight, click like, click subscribe, share the show with someone. Would truly appreciate that. Subscribe to the podcast, rate and review on Apple and Spotify. That really helps boost us up in the algorithms and get us featured on the front pages of Apple and Spotify and stuff like that. So there are so many ways you can help us out, and we appreciate all of them in every big and small way. Again, to our super chatters tonight, you're going to be entered into a lottery to win a free signed book from me. Again, if that means anything to you. But yeah, just kind of my way of giving back to you guys. So thank you. We had a goal of 5 tonight. We got 3 now. You guys want to squeeze in 2 more before we leave? Awesome. If not, again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's it. I'm just going back in to make sure I didn't miss any questions you guys might have. 40 drafts is crazy. Daniel says, yeah, dude. I've never written 40 drafts of anything in my life. But look, when you're working with Spielberg, it's got to be perfect. Was it perfect? Tune in Sunday. All right. All right. I didn't miss any questions. Cool. Let's get out of here. We've been going for 2 hours. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here for our impromptu watch along tonight. Suzanne and I tried to do the live stream, the official live stream on do it on Fridays, and it's just not working. Like, people are really busy on Fridays. I'm astounded by the amount of people watching tonight, but I will say, to be fully transparent, our numbers were almost doubled on Sundays. And again, I just think it makes sense. Like, people go out on Friday nights, they spend their paychecks, they go out and decompress for getting ready for the weekend. So I get it. I get why a lot of people wouldn't want to watch a live stream about UFOs on a Friday night. So we're going to go back to Sundays moving forward. And that'll start this upcoming Sunday with our review of Disclosure Day with Bryce Sable and Brent Friedman. Then after that, we will be going to Sundays. I will say right now, I am heading to Nova Scotia next week for a month-long filming excursion for my television series Haunted Heart and Soul. So I don't know what time the Sunday live streams will be, but I'm going to try my damnedest to keep it consistent. But bear with me. The times might be a little wonky moving forward with the live streams, but we're going to try to do something for you guys. We don't want to leave you hanging. We know a lot of you are here almost every time we do one of these, and that just that means the world to me. It really, really does. Like, thank you. Thank you for the support. And I know that a lot of you will be there no matter what time or day we do it. So thank you. But yeah, we will be doing things every Sunday, no matter what. Susanna and I are discussing a bunch of different ways that we could possibly do that. If I'm not available to actually live stream, we're going to put some stuff in the bank and put it out on Sundays for you on top of the Monday releases of the podcast. So a lot of exciting things, a lot of things to figure out and iron out as I navigate my time over there in Canada starting next week. So I'll keep you posted on all of that. You can stay up to date on our social media with everything. And last time I'll mention this, tune in this Sunday at 4 p.m. for our review episode. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all that YouTube-y stuff and all that podcasty stuff. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. That was weird. So I'm going to shut up. Bye.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.